Hey guys, it's Brian back again, and today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to start off with my normal discussion um, about chronic pain and the point of this entire journey. But I'd feel remiss if I didn't at least bring up what happened last night at the Capitol in Washington, at the storming of the gates of our Capitol. So, um, but we're going to start off with our topic, which is chronic pain. And I'm going to talk about how living with chronic pain and trying to raise kids, have a family, support a family when you're unable to work. Because I think it kind of ties in with politics a little bit. So, and this is definitely going to be more than one video. This will be a series. So we're going to talk about, living with chronic pain and loss of wages. So, thanks guys for watching my videos. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe. Please share it. This is from a perspective of someone who lives it every day, and not from a doctor, not from a pharmacist or a medical professional, but a person that suffers from chronic pain. And I know there's a lot of us out there, but I'm trying to put a voice to the vocal minority, and having your life disrupted because of a sickness and a condition is honestly, it's a nightmare. So, 9 years ago, I was diagnosed the third time with cancer. I'd already started to have nerve damage. After the treatment with the chemo and the 3 months of radiation, it caused more nerve damage in my hip area and in my feet and legs, pretty much all over really, but that's where the main source of the pain comes from. I was working full time at a large company, JP Morgan Chase. I was making good money. The problem comes with this is I was getting to a point to where the pain was worsening. I was starting to get to where I couldn't sit for long periods. I couldn't stand for long periods. They ended up doing the best they could to try to help. They gave me a desk that could raise or lower. But that didn't really work, because once the pain starts to rise, it's over. It's not like the pain gets there, I can take some pain pills and it goes away. That's just not how it works. And I'll explain to you why in another video, but I'll give you a brief, real quick note on it. Pain pills or it's like you have to stay ahead of the pain. Once the pain gets to a point, you can't bring it back with pain pills. Pain pills helps prevent the pain from getting you in the first place. So just bear that in mind. Um, so I was starting to miss work. I was starting to I was on FMLA to protect me short term intermittent FMLA, meaning if I missed work here and there, it was because of a medical condition. But we all know that while you have protections in place, if you start doing that and missing work, they're going to find a way to get rid of you. It's all, this is Texas. Texas is a right to work state. I went to actually an attorney to find out if I had any rights, and they said absolutely you could sue them and you would probably win, but you would go bankrupt in trying to do it because you're suing, a multi-billion-dollar corporation that can just stretch it out, and you're you with a lawyer, and odds of you being able to, it's not worth the fight. So I lost the job. I ended up getting another job at another company, but my pain had progressively gotten worse at this point. I asked them for a chair to help, a cushion chair, because the chairs they had me in just wasn't cutting it, and they refused to do it. So I bought my own chair and brought it up to the office. And it was funny because they were fine with it until corporate found out, and then all of a sudden they wanted it gone. And I don't know, it was a whole thing. I don't understand it to this day why they would have a problem with me having my own chair. It didn't cost them any money. It had something to do with the other employees being jealous, but I said, well, if they want to buy their own chair, I don't see why that's a problem either. But I'm not doing it to be difficult. I'm doing it because I physically cannot sit in these chairs. But that's not the point. The point is, as my pain started to get worse, my pain medicine started to change. I was taking higher doses. I was taking different types of medicine. Pain medicine causes its own issues. So not only am I suffering from chronic pain, and now I'm suffering from side effects from taking very strong pain medications. Um, I've done a video on spoon theory, and I recommend you guys watching it, because if you watch that, and I'll tag it below, but if you watch that video, it will explain what I'm about to tell you. It'll make it make sense. But when my pain starts getting intense like that, my spoons go away a lot quicker. So I'm at work running out of spoons faster than the shift is, hurting intensely, like to the point that I'm just hunched over in miserable pain. And I want you to put yourself in my situation. You're someone that has always been a very intelligent person. You always can think quickly and pick up on what you're doing quickly. Like, I can go get a job in a totally unrelated field to anything I've ever done in my life, and I was able to pick up on it quickly. Matter of fact, I've done that 4 times in my career. I've totally switched careers. Like, I was a manager when I was young. When I was fresh out of high school, I was a manager. I managed a bowling alley. I mean, that's just managing people. And then after that job, um, and I was also a martial art instructor. And then after that job, I got a job where I went into the optical industry and I was making glasses, manufacturing eyeglasses, prescription eyeglasses, cutting the lenses and all of that, which I believe is where the cancer came from, and that will be in another video. But I would make glasses, and that was a totally new field. I never had any idea about anything, but I learned. Ended up becoming a manager, ended up becoming a district manager, then a general manager, then a district manager. The district manager was over the labs. Then I became a general manager over the entire store. And I was at the number one performing store in Dallas Fort Worth. So from that point, I became a director of operations for Sam's Club, where I was in charge of, say, 28 clubs, I believe, in the Fort Worth, West Texas, and New Mexico market. So I was in an airplane a lot, traveling around to all the different stores. This is all pre-cancer. And so, I was always a hard worker, and I always excelled in whatever jobs I was doing. I'd travel around doing that job, got laid off, went and got a job at Palm Harbor Homes, where I manufactured housing, and I was a manager. I managed people that actually put the homes together. They were trim out crews. So I had to work with the different areas in west of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And when the lots would sell a house and deliver it, I would have to schedule a trim out tech to go and put the house together. So, and then I also had to manage the warranties on the house. So it was a lot of busy stuff I had to do, a lot of mind intense, totally new industry once again, but I was able to pick up on it and do it. From there, I got diagnosed with cancer. And then my last day of chemo, I interviewed and got a job at JP Morgan Chase. So I worked there for several years. But then that's when the nerve damage and the other damage from the chemo started to do its work on my body. So after that job, I got a job at another mortgage company, and I was doing a pretty basic job where it was, it was real basic, but it was real manual. So it was real detail oriented, which was never a problem for me, but it was super easy. But I had to look at the different data on spreadsheets and make sure that everything matched up and fill out a report or make sure the reports were correct. But it was like I was making mistakes, lots of mistakes. And I'd never made mistakes. And I was emotional about it. I would cry. These are things that I just never done. I'd be at work, getting talked to about all these different mistakes that I've done. And I got to the point to where I would work a report, that shouldn't take more than an hour, and I was spending all day on it. And I would do it 3 times. I would work it and I'd go through it again, and then I'd triple check myself. And I was still having errors. Like, they would find errors. Even now, thinking back on it, it's upsetting. I mean, it was Mickey Mouse mistakes. It was junior high school stuff. So they fired me, and God, I just thinking back on it, man, it just really upsets me. I ended up going on unemployment, trying to find a job. You know, the my pain was bad. I couldn't focus. It was just really bad. And then I realized I wasn't able to work. I could not work. So I filed for disability, and I've been denied a few times, and we're coming up on the court date now. So this has been 3 years now that I've been trying to get disability, at least about 3 years. So and they just keep denying me. Nobody's asked to see me. Nobody's asked for me to go to their doctor. It's just they flat out deny me, and it stinks because we really need the money, and I'd really love to work, but I can't do the job. I can't focus on the job because the pain is so bad. And instead of helping us out, they're making the stress work by denying us. So the court date's coming up in a couple of months. I'm praying that we can get that approved and get those benefits so my wife can stop working 2 jobs and I can pull my weight. I haven't put that out there anywhere because it's quite humiliating. It's very embarrassing. So that's my story. You got to have some compassion for people. Like my particular condition, to look at me, you wouldn't know that I was disabled. I can walk from the car to the grocery store and walk through the grocery store, walk back to the car. But what you don't realize is by the time we got back to the car, I'm hurting bad. I'm hiding it, but I'm hurting bad. I have a handicap sticker on my car to help because that saves some steps. But it doesn't look like I'm handicapped. But I am. We went to downtown Chicago to try to tour that area, and like I couldn't do it. My feet swelled up so bad, my back hurt so bad I couldn't move. We spent one afternoon, like just maybe an hour and a half of walking there, and I was down for a week. It takes me 3 or 4 days to recover from doing something above and beyond. So it's hard. It's really hard. And I'm in a position that I need help. I need help, and I need our government to help me out, which goes back to politics. I'm a personal believer that you should work for what you get. And I have. I've worked my entire life from when I was 15 years old until now. And this is not something that I'm choosing. This is not something that I asked for. You don't ask for cancer. You don't ask for nerve damage. This isn't me trying to get out of work. This is me trying to live with a condition. When I saw what happened yesterday, When I saw the President of the United States talking about going down to the Capitol building and straightening out the Republicans that are scared to stand up for what's right, and how his election was stolen, and I mean, it made me sad. It made me real sad. I've been a Republican my entire life. I'm from Texas. I mean, born, bred, and my parents are from Texas. Their parents are from Texas. I've always been a Republican. I'm more in the middle. I'm not to the right. I'm not to the left. I'm pretty much right down the middle. There's some things that I believe the Democratic Party is right about. There's some things I believe the Republican Party is right about. I believe we should come together and do what's best for the country. And I believe that we're in a position right now that nobody's listening to each other, and the Democrats are so far to the left, just listening to themselves, and they're not willing to come together with the right, that they just stay further and further to the left. And the Republicans are so far to the right, they're not willing to come to the middle, and they just pushing themselves further and further to the right. And all we're doing is butting heads against each other. Nobody's listening to anybody, and this is not good. And it's not what our country's about. And we have to get back to what our country was founded on. We have to communicate. We have to be able to talk to one another. I mean, what they did yesterday was just unthinkable and wrong on so many levels. And what the President of the United States did by stirring them up and riling them up to get them to, he knew what was going to happen. Everybody knew what was going to happen. I knew it would happen. You get the Proud Boys and everybody all fired up, and he gives a little wink, wink. That's their go. And then he can say, I never meant for this to happen. Well, you know what? You're not stupid, Mr. President. You are not stupid. You knew exactly what you were doing. And I'm very disappointed in him and the leadership. And I'm embarrassed to say that I'm a Republican. I'm embarrassed to say it right now. I can't even really say I'm a Republican. I'm an American. And right now, the Republican Party is wrong, in my opinion. And you know what? It's okay for me to have that opinion, or at least it used to be. It used to be okay to have that opinion. And I think we need to really look at each other and find out why it's not okay now. It's okay to disagree. It's okay to have dialogue. It is not okay to storm the Capitol. So I'm not going to go any further into it because, again, this isn't about politics. This is about chronic pain. So, watch that video. I'm going to click the link in the notes. Watch the video about spoon theory, and stay tuned for the next video. We're on this series. I appreciate you guys so much. I'd really like to get to 1,000. We're a little over 400 right now, and I'd really like to get to 1,000. So if you could maybe please subscribe so we could get to 1,000, I would really appreciate it. It would mean so much to me to be able to do this. Then I if I get to 1,000, I can, put ads on my videos, and that might help a little bit with my family, and it would just mean so much to me. So if you please would share this with your friends, hit the subscribe button, and follow us. Click that follow button so you can follow us when I send out a new video. I'm gonna do 5 days a week. I'm gonna do new videos. So we'll share all about chronic pain, testicular cancer, the spinal cord stimulators. So thanks again, guys. God bless you, and Happy New Year.